Before the first dawn broke upon the sleeping earth, before the maize ripened beneath the sun, and before rivers carved their way through the valleys of Anahuac, there was silence, and in the silence was thought. At the center of the void, where time had not yet stirred, Ometecutli and Omechihuatl, Lord and Lady of Duality, dreamed. Within them lay all opposites, male and female, creation and destruction, darkness and flame. From their eternal unity came 4 divine sons, each born beneath a different sky, each bearing the burden of shaping the cosmos. From the white lands of the east came Quetzalcoatl, the Feathered Serpent. His name was a riddle whispered by the wind. Quetzal, the emerald-feathered bird whose plumes shimmer like jade, and Coatl, the serpent, coiling deep in the earth. Sky and soil, breath and blood, he was the bridge between realms, the mediator of existence. But balance is never born without struggle, for where there is light, there is always shadow. Among his brothers was Tezcatlipoca, the smoking mirror, whose obsidian gaze reflected deception and chaos. Their rivalry was destined to shape not only the earth, but the cycles of time themselves. The first breath of Quetzalcoatl was not his own, but the breath of creation itself. When he opened his eyes upon the void, the winds gathered around him, whispering secrets of what would be. From the moment of his awakening, he was bound to the rhythm of existence, the unseen current that moves between life and death, silence and sound, stillness and motion. Even among gods, he was different. While his brothers embodied force and fire, war and sacrifice, Quetzalcoatl carried knowledge within him, a gift born from the thought of the dual gods who dreamed him into being. From his earliest moments, the Feathered Serpent sought harmony rather than conquest. While Tezcatlipoca roared and Huitzilopochtli sharpened his blade, Quetzalcoatl traced the patterns of the stars upon the surface of the cosmic sea. He saw the paths of light and shadow winding together like serpents, and from this vision came his first understanding that the universe itself is not ruled by domination, but by balance. The gods gathered to shape the heavens and the earth, and it was here that Quetzalcoatl's role first became clear. He stretched the sky upon 4 mighty pillars, each one aligned with the colors of the cardinal winds. To the east, he set the white road of dawn. To the west, the black veil of dusk. To the north, the blue breath of storms. And to the south, the red heat of life's beating heart. Each direction bore his mark, for he was the wind that tied them together, the axis upon which creation turned. Yet harmony could not last. Tezcatlipoca, seeing his brother's growing influence, sought to undo him. The smoking mirror whispered of fire and blood, urging the gods toward sacrifice and chaos. But Quetzalcoatl resisted, insisting that life could flourish without endless death. Thus began the eternal struggle, not of open war, but of opposing philosophies, woven into every stone temple and carved into the bones of time itself. Even as tensions deepened, the Feathered Serpent's heart remained fixed upon humankind, who did not yet exist, but who stirred faintly within the thoughts of the gods. He imagined beings of earth and breath, fragile yet filled with divine spark, and he vowed that their fate would not be sealed by violence alone. His visions of their world, of growing maize, rising pyramids, and songs whispered to the stars, drove him to act. And so it was in this first age, beneath the dreaming void, that the story of Quetzalcoatl truly began, not as a conqueror, nor as a destroyer, but as a guardian of balance, a weaver of winds, and the silent promise of dawn yet to come. In the beginning, there was only water, stretching endlessly beneath a dark, starless sky, and upon these waters swam Quetzalcoatl, the monstrous crocodile, a creature of endless hunger, her body covered in eyes and mouths. Every moment she devoured herself, and every moment she grew. The gods gathered, for no land could rise while Quetzalcoatl ruled the primordial sea. It was Quetzalcoatl and Tezcatlipoca who dared face her, setting aside their rivalry for the sake of creation. They lured her with promises of sacrifice, and when she surfaced, jaws yawning like abysses, they struck. Tezcatlipoca offered his foot to her bite, and as Quetzalcoatl clamped down, Quetzalcoatl seized her by the throat. Together, they tore her apart, and from her body the world was formed. Her flesh became the land, her blood flowed into rivers, her eyes transformed into wells and springs, and her spine rose as mountains stretching toward the heavens. Yet Quetzalcoatl's hunger was eternal. To appease her spirit, the gods decreed that blood sacrifice must forever nourish the earth, for from death comes life, and creation demands its price. Thus was born the first covenant between gods and mortals, a truth whispered beneath every pyramid and etched into every altar stone. Ages passed, and the suns rose and fell. When the people of the previous worlds perished, the gods turned to Quetzalcoatl, for it was he who would bring forth humankind anew. With his twin Xolotl, he descended into Mictlan, the underworld of 9 shadowed levels, where souls wandered beneath a skyless void. They crossed the Xiconahuapan River, carried on the backs of spirit dogs. They endured mountains that crashed together like jagged jaws, and they passed through fields where obsidian knives rained from above like black hail. At last, they came before Mictlantecutli, skeletal lord of death, whose grin held no mercy. The god of shadows offered the bones of the ancient races, but set a trap of pride. As Quetzalcoatl fled, the ground split beneath him. He fell, and the bones shattered into countless fragments. Returning to the realm of light, Quetzalcoatl wept. He ground the fragments into dust, mixed them with his own divine blood, and shaped from them the new race of mortals. From the brokenness of the old, a new humanity rose, fragile, diverse, and mortal, yet bound forever by the breath of the Feathered Serpent. The ancients told that the world had been born and destroyed 5 times, each under the rule of a different sun. In the Second Age, Quetzalcoatl reigned as the White Sun, and the earth was home to giants who strode across the mountains. But Tezcatlipoca, ever jealous, toppled him, and the world was swept away by raging winds. When the 4th sun perished and darkness devoured the earth, the gods gathered at Teotihuacan, the city of the gods, to rekindle light. At the center, they built a great fire and declared, "One among us must leap." Proud Tezcatlipoca hesitated, but humble Nanahuatzin, covered in sores, cast himself into the flames and rose as the 5th sun. Yet the newborn star would not move. Quetzalcoatl transformed into Ayacatl, the wind, and with his breath he pushed the sun across the heavens, setting time itself into motion. Without his breath, there would have been no day, no seasons, and no turning of the stars. Thus, Quetzalcoatl became not only the creator of life, but the keeper of time's rhythm. When humankind was born, the earth was dark and cold, for the secret of fire was hidden among the stars. Quetzalcoatl journeyed into the heavens to steal it from the skeletal demons known as the Tzitzimime, daughters of the void who devour worlds when suns die. In a dance of cunning and storm, he snatched fire from their grasp and brought it to earth, hiding it within the hollow of the maguey plant. From this flame, humanity learned to cook their food, forge their tools, and warm themselves against the cold night. But the Tzitzimime never forgave. They wait at the edges of the cosmos, and when the 5th sun falters, they will descend, and the stars themselves will fall like obsidian rain. In the days when the people hungered, maize, the staff of life, was locked within the heart of a sacred mountain. None could break its stone skin. Quetzalcoatl, seeing the suffering of humankind, transformed into a black ant and crept into the smallest cracks. He returned carrying a single kernel of maize, a gift of survival and civilization. From this kernel, he taught humanity to sow the earth, to harvest its bounty, and to grind the grain into sustenance, giving them the strength to endure beneath the turning suns. Thus, The people learned to live not by blood alone, but by the bounty of the earth. Quetzalcoatl's wisdom made Tollan a jewel among cities. Under his guidance, art and learning flourished, and no blood stained the altars. Yet peace is fragile, and shadow moves where light gathers. Tezcatlipoca, masked in deception, came among the Toltecs disguised as an old man. He offered Quetzalcoatl a cup of pulque, the sacred drink of maguey. The feathered serpent drank, and in his inebriation broke his vows of purity. Ashamed, he cast off his regalia and left Tollan. Some say he built a raft of serpents and sailed east into the rising sun. Others say he burned himself upon a pyre, and from the ashes rose Venus, the morning star. Both stories are true, for Quetzalcoatl is exile and return, destruction and renewal, as constant and unbroken as the star that heralds the dawn. High above mortal sight lies Tamoanchan, where streams run with liquid jade and trees blossom with eternal spring. It was here that the gods created the first men and women, shaping their destiny beneath the shadow of the saber tree. Quetzalcoatl walked among these gardens, and it was here that he shook the calabash tree whose fruit contained the bones of those who came before. As the bones tumbled to earth, the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth began. From Tamoanchan came the calendar, the sacred songs, and the ordering of stars. All gifts Quetzalcoatl bestowed upon humankind, so they might live in harmony with the universe. When Quetzalcoatl became Tlahuizcalpantecutli, Lord of the Morning Star, his saga was etched upon the heavens. Each dawn, Venus rises before the sun, burning like a pale jewel, heralding day. Each dusk, it sinks into shadow, dying and returning in endless rhythm. For the ancients, this was no mere star, it was prophecy. Quetzalcoatl's cycles foretold the rise and fall of kings, the coming of famine, the dance of war, and the shadow of endings yet to come. Even now, when the morning star gleams above the horizon, it whispers his promise. Exile is not forever, and every setting carries the seed of return. Quetzalcoatl is serpent and bird, earth and sky, creator and exile, wisdom and folly. In him, the opposites of existence unite, revealing a deeper truth. Life itself is balance. Without Tezcatlipoca's chaos, there could be no creation. Without shadow, there is no dawn. Through his fall and return, his death and rebirth, Quetzalcoatl embodies the eternal dance that binds gods and mortals alike. Look east to the horizon. There, where night surrenders to light, Venus burns, a promise older than pyramids, older than stone, older than words. The feathered serpent glides unseen through the skies, his breath stirring the winds, his myths written in the bones of the world. And so the dance continues. If you loved diving into Quetzalcoatl's myths, don't stop here. Hit subscribe for more deep dives into ancient gods and forgotten legends. Like this video if you enjoyed the journey, share it with anyone fascinated by mythology, and ring the bell so you never miss the next story waiting to be told.